The Fresh and Fit podcast is very controversial due to its subject matter. Most of that subject matter revolves around the dating and relationships of American women, and the opponents, who are mainly women, dislike their strategy. Many people say that a lot of disrespect is given towards women during the shows, women are kicked out, and women are used as objects to pretty much speak a narrative. And if you guys can remember, there was a clip in which Fresh and Fit encouraged black women to say the N-word towards Nick Fuentes.
Hey, what you got?
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Is anyone going to hit me if I say it?
No. Let's go. 2 hours.
I'm not touching him. No.
Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right.
Let's go. 2 hours.
I'm not touching him.
No. Come on, Nick. What you got?
All right.
And that's the second part that's very controversial about Fresh and Fit. Although this is more niche and most people can overlook it. Fresh and Fit also are known as African American haters. They have no respect for the community that we come from. And that's mainly because of both of them and where they are from. You have Fresh, who is from Barbados, and then Fit, who is from Sudan. But Fit, also known as Myron Gaines, is Arabic Sudan, although he appears to be black, like black African. And I've talked to him before. He told me himself he identifies as somebody black, but when you hear him talk, that's not the case. And he's been known to say some very offensive things towards blacks and black women, which we'll talk about very soon. But he's also had certain things to say about Tariq Nasheed, like this clip here.
Who want to help black people but need help to help black people.
Interesting.
Clever words.
Yeah, Omar Johnson, and then I think there's some other guy that did something like that as well, that collected a bunch of money for a museum.
BLM and something else.
Yeah, some dude who collected money for a museum that hasn't never been built in LA, collected like $1 million+
Imaginary museum.
I don't know. I think y'all in the chat know who he is. So something, I don't know. Y'all in the chat know who we talk about. Fucking clown.
You see, brothers like Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson have had an issue with people like Fresh and Fit from the beginning, but mostly Tariq Nasheed. And if you can remember when Asian Doll was disrespected, Tariq Nasheed did not like it. And that is why Tariq Nasheed came out with this particular clip about Fresh and Fit.
Some old clip people have circulated about these guys where they're talking about black women and how they don't date black women and all this. Now listen to these dudes. So you can see where the hatred and the contempt comes from. This is some real contempt. And I don't think it's just hatred for black women. This is FBA contempt. This is contempt for Foundation of Black Americans, period. People got to understand that part of the game. But listen to
like
this.
a black dating app called Black. It's funny I never used that one, bro, but hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like, me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so,
bro, I'm good.
Sometimes if they're, red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, this Myron dude, oh yeah, we don't date, yeah, we ain't down with the brown, and oh man. So this guy, he's a super sitting up here talking all that bullshit because this Myron dude, this Myron guy, let's be very clear, this Myron dude, his name is not really Myron. Yeah, his co-host is Walter Weeks, he's from Barbados, but this Myron guy, his name is not Myron. This is the Myron guy right here. A lot of people have been digging up information on this guy. This is an Arab. He's from the Sudan. His name is actually Amro Fuldel. He changed his name to Myron Gaines, I guess to try to sound more black. This is the definition of tethering. This dude is an Arab. He comes around us trying to blend in with all of this anti-FBA hatred. From what I understand, he was also a federal agent from what people are saying. I think they said he worked with the Department of Homeland Security, something like that. But this is one of these anti-FBA tethers who sit up here hating on Foundation of Black Americans, That's what this thing is really about. It's really about all of foundational black Americans, and the softest target is a black woman. You see, they can pull that bullshit on a sister because he knows you can't talk that shit around no real FBA brother. You talking all that old weak sucker shit because a nigga pop you in your damn mouth. You understand? And he knows that. See, they try to go for what they think are soft targets. They'll try to get around sisters and try to buck up and talk all tough and talk all greasy around some sisters because they know they can't talk that shit around some of these FBA brothers, especially certified niggas. Because you'll slap a falafel out of his fucking mouth. He knows that. And a lot of these dudes, they try to get into the manosphere type of thing where they're trying to give relationship advice and all that. And it's coming from a real weird place. It's coming from a real weird, hateful ass place.
So, this has been going on for about a year or so, and I don't really see Dr. Umar Johnson responding to Fresh and Fit, but Tariq Nasheed is more active on Twitter and I believe on Facebook. And Fresh and Fit, really, which is Myron, because to be honest, Walter doesn't really say a lot, and that's the other guy. He doesn't really say a lot about what goes on with African Americans so much. But Myron dropped this controversial clip which called out directly by name Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson. I'd like to play that and then I will return.
And honestly, if it's me and Nick, I'll take on Tariq and Umar. We'd absolutely destroy them. We would absolutely destroy them. And we wouldn't even have to get into like any of the IQ stuff. We would just straight debate them on how you are not oppressed as an African American in the United States or an FBA, foundationally black American, whatever they want to say. They say all these excuses about why the black man can't get ahead. I'll give you all one stat. All right, just to show you guys how ludicrous these guys are. In 1940, okay, 87% of blacks lived in poverty. By 1960, about 47% of blacks lived in below the poverty line. Okay, so a 40% drop. Also, keep in mind, this was before the civil rights era. So racism was at its highest. So please explain to me how you had a 40% drop of blacks living under the under the poverty line, and one of the worst eras to be a black person in the United States, and then you're fast forwarding to 2023, where racism exists. I'm not denying it exists. However, it is not strong enough to keep you back or hold you back from success. No way. But you're telling me people had way more obstacles back then and they were able to not live in poverty? Come on, man, get out of here.
Now, Tariq Nasheed responded to that by retweeting the video and saying this: foundational black Americans live rent-free in Myron's head. Let Myron know I will go on Fresh and Fit and have a face-to-face with him and his other Tether co-hosts. Fresh and Fit responded, "You're irrelevant. I'll debate Dr. Umar, but you're not worth my time. Bring someone with you with the presence if you want to do this." And I find that very comical and funny, being that Fresh and Fit actually have no presence themselves. What they've done over the last 2 to 3 years is beg people to come to their podcast and try to build up their show because they couldn't build up their show by themselves. But in response to somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson or Tariq Nasheed, both of these guys, like it or not, whenever they come somewhere, they bring a number. So to say that, Tariq Nasheed is not a presence, especially in black social media, wherever Tariq goes, he gets a lot of views by himself, especially Dr. Umar, I think that's irrelevant. Now, he did say he will debate Dr. Umar, and that is because Dr. Umar typically is more active in interviews. Like he went to the Daily Wrap-Up Crew, which is not anyway, like I said, it could be similar to Fresh and Fit without any of the toxicity. In my honest opinion, shout out to Eli, Jew, and Ace over there in New York City. They have one of the best podcasts in Black America, if not the best podcast in Black America. So when Dr. Umar went over there and did, that debate, it almost garnered millions of views, millions of reactions. Whereas Tariq Nasheed is not as active as Umar with going on podcasts and going on tours and things like that. But if he was, he would also garner as much attention as Dr. Umar. But really, the reason why you don't want to debate Tariq Nasheed is because he's definitely gonna cream you. Let me just get into the fact of what he talked about in that particular clip. He said in 1940, Black Americans, 87% of them lived in poverty. All right, and I want to give a shout out to this particular channel here, and they broke this down. The brothers by the name of Reacts. Check them out. You know what I'm saying? 1940s, what you saw was the Great Depression. So everybody was okay, like in depression. Also, in 1960, all of Americans were doing good. I believe the president at that time was John F. Kennedy, or we were just coming out of the Dwight D. Eisenhower regime. So the country was doing very well. That was a boom for America at that time economically. All right, that's so obviously as Black Americans, and you have that boom, especially under Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was probably one of, if not the greatest president that we've ever had. The interstate highways were formed and during that time. So despite the fact that Black Americans were at the bottom of the country, Dwight D. Eisenhower, I mean, that whole time we flourished. I mean, capitalism was at its best. The United States was at its best as a world power. So of course that trickled down to even Black Americans. So it makes sense. Cities like Detroit and manufacturing hubs like Oakland and Chicago did very well. Also, around that time, you had Blacks coming from the country into the major cities, again, like Detroit, again, like Los Angeles. So yeah, the quality of life became better for African Americans in the Great Migration. I'm the first generation that was born outside of Louisiana, so economic opportunities became better. So I don't know why he's saying those things as if he's going to debate somebody like Dr. Umar, or if he's going to debate somebody like Tariq Nasheed, because he's going to get smoked. The reality is he should do very well to really keep his name off African Americans, because the reason is this: when you want to start this Fresh and Fit podcast, bro, you didn't go to your people in Sudan, and it's no offense to the brothers and sisters in Sudan right now, right? But unfortunately, our brothers in Sudan right now are having a civil war right now, and that is always the case with our brothers and sisters in Sudan region. It's not their fault, whatever. But again, so like you're speaking on this, and if somebody starts speaking on those things, then it would be very, and it's no offense to them, right? Because they don't have anything to do with that. But when you wanted to pop your podcast off, bro, you were begging Kevin Samuels. You were begging a Steffes Cole. You were begging all the Black American manosphere guys to come give you some clout. All right. So we gonna act like you didn't go to your people to do this. When you have those rappers and those people, you know, like who they emulating, right? You know, you went to our group asking for help. So now you're acting like you don't want to, you know, like you're so good when your people don't do nothing for you. All right. We're just gonna be real. Zero. There's nothing that your group does for you, for the culture, at least in this country. I don't see it. So I'm just gonna keep it real. This is no shade on none of those people, but you know, like I said, maybe they're doing something for you in another way. Again, they even checked you about your disrespect for Islam. So like I said, our Sudan brothers and sisters out there, I don't see you bringing them on there because they probably don't agree with how you act. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.